on a power cube. Main things to keep in mind. First, you turn the key on. Upon the first turn on, the fan turns on, and from that point, very basic thing, it should start. It should crank over. So there we see it does. Now the other piece of quality control is make sure that the off mechanism is correct. In this, you saw that it didn't turn off immediately. Waits a little bit. That's a bug that needs to be fixed. Okay. Battery. Make sure the battery terminals are tight. If they're loose, you're not going to be able to start. Next point. Make sure that the charging wire is connected. That's the charging wire. As far as the coupler, this is the motor and the hydraulic pump. Make sure that the coupler is firmly attached and the set screws on the coupler are tight. And make sure that when this power cube is built, you can actually spin by hand. You can spin the coupler, like you see that right there. It should be freely movable from the top. That means the pump and the hydraulic pump and the motor are aligned, and you can spin it by basically moving the top, which is the top fan. You should be able to spin freely. Naturally, check for fluid levels. 3 points. 1, make sure you have the oil. The oil level should be proper. And here we've got pretty much on full. Second fluid is hydraulic fluid. So I'll show you on a top power cube. You can unscrew the breather cap and stick a dipstick down there. Right now we don't have a visible dipstick. You just have to stick a dipstick of your own down in there. But the fluid level should be 2/3 up in a hydraulic reservoir. Once again, as far as in general hydraulics procedures, make sure there are no visible leaks. Like this is the hydraulic filter, return line filter. Make sure there's no leaks anywhere, like on the suction hose, which is right there, or right here on the other side. So here's the other side of the suction hose. This is the hydraulic reservoir. Make sure there's no visible leaks here. So you're using thread tape here to prevent leaks. You can see the thread tape there, but this should be nice and dry, no leaks. Make sure that's there. The hydraulic tank should definitely have no leaks. There should be no visible oil spots. This has been welded, so make sure these are perfect welds. There's no fluid coming out.
How do you check that?
Say what?
How do you check that?
How do you check that? If there are leaks in the hydraulic tank, you will see basically
No, I mean, don't you use soap water before you even put hydraulic fluid in?
Oh, how do you check that? What you do is you do air test. Basically, you stick a air hose into one of the openings of this and plug up all the other ends, and you spray soapy water on any of the corners or any on the fitting areas, and if you see bubbles forming, then that means that there's a leak in there and you have to weld it. So that's the leak testing. Okay, mufflers. Let's talk about mufflers for a second. The mufflers should be on tight, so make sure the attachment bolts are on tight, otherwise you're going to lose a muffler and you might break the actual threaded part if the muffler is jumbling around. Next part, make sure that the hydraulic cooler is on tightly, so these are the 4 bolts, 2 here and 2 on the other side, but that should be tight on. Make sure that there's a small gap between the fan and the hydraulic cooler, because they're not rubbing. Once again, for reasons of safety, grind all the corners, sharp corners. Like this is a piece of metal, you want to just grind the corners so you don't get hurt as easily on that. So right here, for example, that's an example where you should grind this down. That's a pretty decently sharp raw corner. Spray paint all far as the next point, spray paint, like here this has not been spray painted, finished spray painted. So spray paint all the different parts. Okay, cut it for now. How many minutes we got?